Hello there again, everybody. Boyd back with you, and we're out here today working on another Space 1999 project. This is the recently released stun gun and comm lock kit from MPC. This came out, I guess, about 2 months ago, and I've always wanted to have a set of the stun gun and comm lock. I've seen some resin kits over the years that were available, but they were really difficult to put any lighting or sound in, and because they were all molded out of solid parts. But this is a really nice kit. It's molded in true 1-to-1 scale, so they're accurate, not like the old AMT exploration set for Star Trek that we had when we were kids. We were all disappointed when we got it, where it was like half the size it should have been. These are completely accurate. They're very detailed, and the kits are designed very, very nice. I'm working on the comm lock over there on the side. I'm waiting for a couple of little components to come in for that, for electronics, but I'm working on the stun gun today. And I thought I'd show you what I came up with to light this. Now, I'm not going to have any sound in it. You might be able to find a small little soundboard and a miniature speaker that you could fit in here and have sound effects, but lighting is going to be good enough for me on this one. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to have, you've got this little selector switch on the top that goes from stun to kill. So I wanted to have an effect where when it's on the standard stun setting, you just got one LED at the top that lights up, and when you switch it over to kill, all four of these light up. So I figured out how to make that work. Originally I was going to try to make this little switch work here on the top. You have a little selector switch, but it's kind of hard to work with because it has a decal that goes on here, and there's no way to really put a hole in this and make it where you can't see it or have it line up when this little switch is sliding back and forth. So I decided to take an alternative method, and what I did is I installed a little micro on-off switch that I get from Tenant Controls right here on the other, kind of on the bottom where you can't see it. Once my hand's holding onto it, you won't be able to see it. And when I want to switch from stun to kill, I'll just move the selector switch from on to off, and it'll, with this momentary switch, this top LED will always light because it's wired direct. I have a separate wire coming off of that, which is going to run to this switch here, and depending on what position that's in, either these all three will light or they won't whenever I push this trigger. So that's how I figured that out. So I've got 4 3mm green LEDs in here. Each one of them has a 470 ohm 1/4 watt resistor hooked up to it, all set up to work on 9 volts. I've got a little 9-volt battery clip here, and everything's laid in here. You just gotta tuck everything down in here nice and neat. Now these little 3mm LEDs will actually fit right into the little chrome emitter tips that come with this, and I thought about doing it that way. But the problem with that is that when you put this together, which I'll show you right now, you're going to have to do a little bit of putty and seam work on this thing, which I'll show you right now. I'll kind of stick this thing together real quick here for you. You're going to have these little seams that go across right here, over the top, down the back, and down here. They're not bad, and they're going to be easy to fix, but having those emitters on there with the LEDs, stuck in there, that's going to be a problem. So I just decided to put them in there like that. Now I'll just put some tape over these, and when I'm working on this thing, they won't be bothered or anything like that. And then once I get all my putty, primer, and paint done, we can just come back at the end and stick our little emitter tips on there, and they'll still light up just fine. So let me pop this apart one more time. Well, before we do that, let's show you how it kind of goes together. You got this little grip part right here, which is a kind of a clip fitting. It kind of goes in like this in the bottom. Got a little tab there. And then it snaps into place on the top, and so you got your 9-volt battery down here. Then you've got the little trigger that'll sit down in this little slot right here. And what we'll wind up doing is, after this is all done and painted and everything, we'll glue that to the top of the button. We'll just put a little drop of glue here on the bottom and on the top of this, and that'll be our little trigger. So you got a nice little, you can see you got a nice little smooth acting spring action there that'll work really good for our trigger when we want to hit the lights. And then up here you've got this cool little, let's see if I can put this together here for you really quick. You got this little selector switch that that goes from stun to kill. And as I mentioned, I was going to try to work out something with the switch on there, but with the decal that goes in there in the middle and everything, it would have been, I would have had to butcher that up a little bit to make that work. So we'll just leave that clean the way it is, and we'll have our little switch down here, you can see, which I can just move forward or backward, and that'll either, like I said, control either one of these lighting or all 4 of these lighting. So it's a real simple setup. And we're going to go ahead now. I'm going to take this over and I'm going to start doing my putty and primer work and everything on it and get it all ready to go. And I'll come back and show you how we've got it all looking. I've got my color picked out for it. It's supposed to be, you know, kind of a basic metallic silver with the black grip and a few other details. You got some little separate, small little detail pieces that go on here that have to be painted different colors, and a few little decals that go on here and there for markings. And it'll be pretty much done. So we're going to be able to pretty much get this done all in one day, you guys. So this is a really fun little afternoon project to work on. I'll do some putty and primer work on this and come back and show you how everything's looking. If you have any questions about how this is wired again or anything, just drop me a line down in the comments. But again, I'll kind of go through it for you one more time. Just got your power wires coming up from the battery clip right here. One wire, the red wire, goes to this side of our momentary switch. The other wire coming off of that goes directly to this top LED. Then we've got a separate wire off of there that is going to go to the other 3 LEDs that are down here. That way when I activate my little switch here, these will be activated, and when I don't want them on, I turn that switch off. It's pretty straightforward. And then again, we just have every LED wired. Our ground wire coming off of our battery clip just goes straight to all the LEDs here. That can work all the time, okay? So again, if you have any questions about it, just let me know and I'll try to help you out. I'll be right back and show you how this is looking with a little bit of putty and primer work. Be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back with you after a couple of hours of a lot of fun putting this together. Everything came together really nice on this. You can see I've got it just about done. I'll talk about what I did here. Our electronics were all done in our first segment there, so all we had to do is glue the 2 halves together and then go around and do our putty along the seams around the inside and on the outside. That was all really easy to do because all the surfaces are open and easy to get to, and you just basically sand it flat. That worked out really good. The grip right here is all one piece and everything, and it wraps around so you don't have to worry about a seam there. And then we had to glue on these little buttons that come separately. I want to talk about one quick thing on that. It confused me a little bit because all the buttons for this one side here came on the sprue that was the same color plastic as the actual body of the pistol here. And when I went to go to put the ones on the other side, I couldn't find them, and I was like, am I missing a sprue? But it turns out the one for the other side are molded in clear. I don't know why they did that, but maybe they were thinking they could be lit or something, but that was kind of interesting. Looking at the stun gun, I didn't see any versions of this where these were actually lights, but maybe there was one, or, you know, I'm not a super expert on Space 1999, but we got our little trigger up here working. I'll show you the lighting effects here in a second. We got our slider switch up here working for the kill and the stun. This little track right here fits really loose, so this knob was just flopping back and forth really easy. So what I did is I took a little bit of CA glue on a toothpick and just barely put it, and I dabbed a tiny little bit in the tracks in there, and I just kind of worked the knob back and forth a couple of times, didn't let it dry, and that added a little bit of you know, tension onto it, where it'll stay where you put it and not flop around or make any noise. And it'll keep getting a little bit smoother the more I operate it. But this came out really, really good. We did our putty work there. I just used some regular perfect plastic putty on that. And then I primed it with this Duplicolor here. And that laid down really good. Then I used this Duplicolor, this is called Galaxy Silver Metallic, for my main color. And that worked out really nice. It's a nice kind of subtle silver. It's not an overpowering metal flake or anything. It looks nice and almost like a satin. Looks really nice. And then we sealed everything up once we put all the decals on, which I'm going to show you guys going on the other side in just a second. You got your decals for your buttons and everything here, and these little stripes. They went down beautiful. The decal in here, everything worked out really good. No issues at all with that. Once we got that, we sealed everything with this Duplicolor matte clear, and what that does is it gives a nice seal on top of everything, and it just makes it easier to handle. You won't scratch it, you won't knock the decals off. And going over it with the matte clear, it made all these chrome parts on here look a lot more realistic instead of being just super bright shiny chrome. They're not supposed to look like that. They're supposed to look like a kind of a more of an aluminum or a brushed look. And same thing up on the top here with the switch and everything. This little chrome piece here, it looks a lot better. And it all came out really good. Our battery fit in here. We got a 9-volt battery in here. It sits in there perfectly. It doesn't shake or rattle or anything. So they did a nice little job designing this. So let's finish this up here, you guys. I'm going to go ahead right now and put these last decals on. Give these a little extra douse of water here. And want to make sure I'm looking at my box there. Okay, we got the blue one that goes on the bottom. And we'll get these laid down, and I'll seal this side of it with our clear, and then she'll be pretty much done. When we finish with that, guys, I'll let it dry a little bit, and I'll come back and I'll show you the lighting effects, which came out really nice on this. Okay, we got the green next. Just kind of getting them in place temporarily for now. And then the yellow. And finally the red. These decals look great on here. You can paint this stuff on, but these look absolutely perfect on here. When you just got to pay real close attention and look at them up close, because they line up perfectly with the edges of the button. So you don't want any of it to, you don't want it to like overhang or anything like that, or slightly wrap around it. It should be like perfectly on the surface of it, as far as I can tell. Just kind of get that excess water out of there and move these around a little bit. Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this little model. It's really cool. And once you get the 9-volt battery in it and everything, it has a little bit more heft to it too, so it doesn't feel hollow and, you know, like there's nothing there. It really comes out pretty nice. Let's get rid of our little water drops here. Like I said, you got to look really close at them. That looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and tamp them down a little bit with our... Of course, they're going to move a little bit when we do that, but we're trying to get rid of the excess water. Adjust them one more time, and then we're going to put some decal setting solution on them, just so they'll settle down on there real good. To come over just a tiny smidge. Yeah, you can fiddle with these for a few minutes. There we go. Got it. Okay. We'll do the black ones in a second, but we want to get these kind of laying down here. So I've got some Walther's Solvaset, my go-to decal setting solution here. And we'll just dab a little bit on there, and we'll check them once more once we do that to make sure they didn't move on us, because like I said, they are exact as far as how they line up. You can tell when one of them's off just a little bit. Yeah, the blue one moved on me just a tiny bit. Okay. So we'll let those sit there, and then we'll get our black ones put down. Let's get a little bit of water on there. Last one. Getting close to the end, you guys. This was a really fun build, and it just took me the better part of an afternoon. Great little fun project to work on. And I'll be starting the comm lock pretty soon. I just got a, like I said, I've got a soundboard I'm waiting for to get here. But I've been kind of drawing out my plan, sketching out my plan as far as how I want to set that up. I'm going to have some of the keys that actually function, and we're going to do some lighting in it, and of course some sound effects. I'm lifting some sound effects off of the actual TV show right now for the comm, which we'll program onto our little soundboard. Okay, we'll get these kind of laying down a little bit better here. closer look at the screen one's still just a tiny little bit off. You can keep seeing slightly askew decals when you take a second look. Okay, this one here needs to come over, and that one needs to go back up a little. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we'll touch these with a little bit of Walthers. That'll just kind of, all I like to do is just put a little drop in the center, and it'll spread out all by itself. Okay. And then we've got this little bit, we've got a glue on right here, the controller knob. I think that's what they call it. Goes right in this little hole right here. It's got the little black center part there painted black, which I just did with a brush by hand. And we'll glue that on. Now, what I'm going to do is, after this dries for a little while, I'll probably give it about a good half hour or so, let these decals settle down. And then I'm going to come back and hit it again one more time with this. And this little chrome knob. Alright, you guys, well, I'm back with the final of our stun gun build here for you, and everything worked out really good. I sprayed all my sealer down on this again, my satin clear, and got everything locked down. All the decals are locked down, everything's sealed. All my little trim pieces here are nice and diffused, where they don't look so, you know, like plastic. They look a lot more, the metallic finish looks a lot more realistic on these, and it just came out really, really good. I really highly recommend this model kit, you guys. Even if you're a beginner, you shouldn't have any problems at all building this. Everything went together really easy. I spent literally just an afternoon here putting this whole thing together. Our little lighting system that we put in, I've got less than $20 into that, including $7 for the battery that we used. And the battery, actually, the 9-volt battery actually gives us a little bit of nice little heft to it too, so it really fixed that up nice. But just a couple LEDs and a switch and a little bit of wiring, and away we go, and it looks really good. We got our all of our detail on here. I want to say I've compared this to the photos that I can find of the original filming miniature, and they got the detail exactly right on this, you guys. It's really accurate. The size, all the little details, everything looks really, really good. We built this up as the Season 1 version. You have the larger knob here. This little switch on the top here is a little bit bigger, and this particular trigger. But we got our selector switch here up for kill and stun. So as our lighting works here, we push our trigger, which is this part right here, and we get, on stun setting, we get the first LED up on the very top goes off. Every time we push the button, it'll stay on as long as we hold it. So that's kind of cool. And, you know, in the TV show, they usually only showed the top one firing. I don't think they ever showed all four, but I decided that when we move it to the kill position and we kind of secretly move this switch when anyone notices, we get all four of these going. And it just gives a more of a punch to it, where it just looks a little bit more dramatic and like it would be on a kill setting or whatever, you know. So the lights coming out of there are plenty bright, like you guys can probably see, and it just works out really, really good. And I'm sure with just that small amount of LEDs, the 9-volt battery will last a long time in this, so we won't have to worry about the battery going bad for a while. And it's always on, but basically the way this switch is set up here, this momentary switch, no juice is going to go out of the battery unless we're actually pushing the button there. So that's a really nice way to set that up. We don't have to, you know, worry about a separate power switch or anything like that. It would have been cool to get some sound effects in here, and somebody probably will come out with a board for that later. A little soundboard with a miniature speaker somewhere. You have to kind of figure out where to hide the, you know, the holes for the speaker, for the sound to come out. Maybe up in here or something like that. But I'm happy with this just the way it is. I'm going to be adding lights and sound to the comm lock, and I'm waiting for a couple of little components to get here for that. And as soon as I get here, you guys will see me build that one up, and we'll have both of these finished, and it'll be a really cool display. I'm working on a neat little idea to display this along with the eagle that I just built. So I'll show you that when we get to it here in just a little bit. I'm working on something really cool with J8HTA ModelWorks. So, but there you go, you guys. Really fun little build. As I said, it only took me an afternoon to build this whole thing, and even if you're a beginner, you shouldn't have any problem at all putting this together, and have a lot of fun with it. It's just really cool if you're a Space 1999 fan, or just a fan of laser, or kind of sci-fi props in general. It's just really, really cool. So I hope you enjoyed our little build here, and I'll be back real soon, you guys. In the meantime, happy holidays. We'll see you soon. Take care, and happy modeling, everyone.